We want smart people that care about what they do, people that wear that as a badge of honor on their sleeve, and then just building relationships. We do a lot of engaging here, a lot of meetings, not just about how our operations are going along, but getting to know people. We want to develop people within. We invest a lot in our people and trying to build that relationship. Certainly we've made mistakes and don't always get it right, but we continue to work with our people and develop and try to get the best people available that we can get in our office and be great advocates for our firm and our clients.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Law Firm Success. Now, one of the things that you'll learn is when it comes down to building a successful law firm is it's probably not going to be just you doing everything. There's going to be a team involved. So we're going to be sitting down talking with our guest today at the Disparti Law Firm, and we're going to talk about how that team has played a role in the success of this law firm. So let's welcome our guest, Jesse Hoolihan. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. How about yourself?
I am great. Glad to have you on. So now, for people who may not be as familiar with the Disparti Law Firm, can you give us a little bit of context and tell us a little bit about the Disparti Law Firm?
Yeah, absolutely. We do handle personal injury, Social Security, disability, workers' comp, medical malpractice. One of the largest personal injury law firms in Chicago. We do handle Social Security disability cases nationwide. And I think we're really a client-focused law firm, and that's really what our founder, Larry Disparti, his vision is creating a law firm that successfully handles clients' cases and gives them first-class customer service. We have an ambassador program because we want to invite our clients essentially to be a part of our family. So it's a big part of what we believe.
Nice. So now you mentioned about the founder who started the firm. And so at what point in the journey or how long have you been a part of the team?
About 15 years. Yeah, been with Larry a long time. He started the firm about 20 years ago, and I joined him 5 years into that journey, and it's been just the experience of a lifetime, really.
Nice. So I guess within that 15-year period, you've been front row seat to seeing a lot of the changes and just the amount of people that have come on. So at this point, roughly how many people are on the team within the firm?
Yeah, great question. When I started, there was probably 15 total. At that time, we were really just primarily Social Security disability. Today, we have 160 employees, 32 lawyers, and like I said, now we're doing all these other practice areas as well. So yeah, it's certainly been big growth in that period, and I've seen a lot of changes. It's been exciting.
Awesome. I'm very curious, as you have seen that growth, one of the things that a lot of lawyers experience are growing pains because when you're growing that much, I would say it's not a straight line from where you start to where you are today. As you've looked at some of that growth, what types of growing pains or what types of lessons have stood out to you like over the years of seeing that growth?
Process. Have a great process. Have lots of processes. Really drive your process, adapt your processes. Yeah, man, you nailed it on the head. We definitely had a lot of growing pains. There was a period, especially as we were growing our personal injury department. I remember one of our lawyers always saying, "This is growing pains, but these are good pains because these are growing pains. They're not. We're trying to adapt things as we're growing. We didn't expect the kind of volume that we were getting at that time, and we were getting more cases in, which is a great problem to have. But yes, to answer your question, what we learned is we really had to get our processes really hammered down, make that a part of things that we just didn't think of the way we every day operated. But when you're going through that, you got to have that blueprint. If you don't, you're going to get lost. And you really want to look back to see where you did make those changes and how you were able to grow from that. So you are continuously learning from it and adapting to it. But yeah, it's got to be about the processes, especially if you want to grow.
Now, I'm very curious when you're looking at having those processes in place and you're trying to figure out how to grow. It's just like, how often did those processes change? Because I would imagine the processes you had in place when you guys were just 15 is probably different when you got to, let's say, 50 or when you got to 100. How much did those processes change over time as you continued to grow?
I would say all the time, every day. We're constantly trying to look at that, especially now with all this technology that we have, particularly with AI and those advancements. We're always trying to leverage those things that we can to make our process better, to make the life cycle of the case a better experience for our clients, a more successful one. So we're constantly looking at our internal practices, our own data, client surveys to see how we can constantly adapt those processes to make them better. Myself, Larry, Disparti, big believers in not being complacent with what we do. So we're always trying to develop those. But yes, certainly there was a drastic change from 15 to 160 plus. That's no doubt. But yeah, we're always trying to continue to refine the process and make it better.
Nice. Now, another aspect about growth that a lot of law firms are trying to navigate is, how do you find the right people for your team? Because I could imagine that going from 15 to 100 plus people is that there had to be a lot of searching or just figuring out recruiting, attracting the right people to the team could be quite the interesting experience. How did you guys go about finding the right people to be part of that team as you grew?
Trial and error, yeah. We made mistakes, but I think for me, I've had people joke before that that was the strangest interview I ever had. And it was simply because I wanted to get to know you as a person. You care about what you do. Are you an advocate for our clients? Those are really the qualities that we look for first. Are we compatible in that regard? You could have people that are great at the job of, let's say, a lawyer. You could be a great lawyer, but you're just not really an advocate for your client, or you don't care about customer service isn't your number one priority. It's not going to be a great fit for us because that's got to be number one. So yeah, certainly we want smart people that care about what they do, people that wear that as a badge of honor on their sleeve, and then just building relationships. We do a lot of engaging here, a lot of meetings, not just about how our operations are going along, but getting to know people. We want to develop people within, and we invest a lot in our people and trying to build that relationship. And certainly we've made mistakes and don't always get it right, but we continue to work with our people and develop and try to get the best people available that we can get in our office, be great advocates for our firm and our clients.
Nice. Now, the way we got connected was our mutual connection from the team Solvo. So, how has Solvo played a role in the growth that you guys have seen as far as providing some of that staffing and support?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that it probably goes back to COVID. Again, Larry, our founder, was one of the major growth periods for us because I think that was a time when obviously people were a little unsettled. People weren't out as much. Obviously, a big part of what we do is personal injury, motor vehicle accidents. Not as many people are out there on the roads. And so I think a lot of firms, what we saw was they were downsizing. They were not advertising. They were worried about what the future was going to look like. And Larry decided, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go all in on this. I'm going to take a chance here. And it paid off because we were really one of the few that were still out there actively moving forward. And then we had to hire people, and it was a very difficult time, as you could imagine, to hire people. And so we were turned on to Solvo, and we were excited to work with them right from the start. They have a great leadership team. Just in talking with them, we could tell that they had a lot of the same values that we did. Not only could we hire a team there, but we would get managers that worked directly with them. We would make them a part of our team, involve them in essentially everything that we do as a law firm. The only thing missing is a staff luncheon in our office. Obviously, those folks being international can't take part in those, but we would still do lunches for them in our own way and do Zoom videos with them and things like that. But yes, having that opportunity, having that ability to be resourceful like that with Solvo really made a huge impact for our firm in a positive way. And not only that, but just from an operational standpoint, it was able to significantly reduce our overhead while also increasing our staff size because of the service that they provide. They handle all the employment aspects of that. And so for us, we were able to hire more quickly. We were able to get them trained up in a lot of ways more quickly and didn't really have all of the negative impacts of a big hiring boost like that. So I think we've got somewhere about 30 employees today with Solvo. And yeah, it's been a great experience and still going great. And it's been an awesome partnership.
Awesome. I love it. Jesse, I want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a great guest. And before we wrap up, if people want to learn more about the Disparti Law Firm, where can they find you guys online?
Yeah, hashtag Larry wins. That's our mantra. But Disparti Law Group, dispartilaw.com. You can find us there, or like I said, hashtag Larry wins, and you can see our success stories and learn a lot about what we do and how we can help folks.
Awesome, Jesse. Thank you so much for coming on.
Man, you got it. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Law Firm and Finance Show, where we give you great content that helps you build a more successful law firm. So make sure you hit that subscribe button on all platforms and follow us for more content.